All right, so BBBY, the first time I made a video about this was because we had, three bullish daily velocity, three bullish daily divergences. So here was your most extreme print. Price was about $7. And then you make like your first lower low right about here at about 650. And you could see that the velocity was diverging bullishly. Come down and we make like a second low right here, about 580, $6. And you could see if I remove the daily trigger, the weekly trigger, and the monthly trigger, and the hourly trigger, you can see that when price made this low and when price made these low, the daily velocity was not as negative as it was here. So here's your two bullish divergences. And then on this third low right here, that's your third bullish divergence. And so what that tells me is that price wants to move up to attack the daily trigger, but it could only do that once price moves above the hourly trigger. And so Monday morning, I believe, price did pop above the hourly trigger. So let's bring that up on the day trader chart. So, price is above the hourly trigger. We haven't really been able to get too much of a lift over it, but you could see, positive hourly velocity in this hour, and price is able to resolve to the upside. Positive hourly velocity in this hour, and even when price sells below the hourly trigger, it resolves to the upside. So price closed at 528. Hourly trigger is at 519. These hourly velocity prints are really not impressive. 0.008, 0.002. This is very insignificant hourly velocity, so it's telling you that price just wants to pin around the trigger. But if we can generate some really strong hourly velocity prints sometime tomorrow morning, let's say this is 0.008, so let's say 0.02 or 0.05, something like that, then I do believe we're going to see a fast market attack to test the daily trigger at 655. So that would look like, let's say, a push up to 550 again, get a nice hourly velocity print in that hour, so price would need to stay up in this range to close the hour, and then I think we could be off and running and push up $1, possibly even before the weekends. And if we can do that, if we can push up to the daily trigger, then we can finally turn the weekly velocity. So you can see how the weekly velocity has just been getting more and more negative to the downside, but the only way this changes is when the lower time frame velocities work together to turn over the higher time frame velocities. So for example, over here, you can see the weekly velocity was pushing down and finally started turning up when we went through our magic number 3 on daily divergences. So just to show you what that looks like, I'll zoom in on this time period. We had a very similar situation. So remove everything else besides the daily velocity, and you can see that here was your most extreme print. Price came down, made your first bullish daily divergence. Price came down again here, made your second bullish daily divergence, and here is your third bullish daily divergence. And after you went through your series of 3 bullish divergences, price started to move back up, and once the daily velocity turned positive, once price started to react positively off these 3 bullish divergences, that's when we were able to turn the weekly velocity. And the weekly velocity started going from increasingly to the downside every single week to starting to look increasingly to the upside every single week. And so if this is the turning point low for BBBY, then we're going to see some nice positive hourly velocity tomorrow, price push up to the daily trigger, and then this will mark the most extreme print just like it did over here. And then next week already, the weekly velocity will start turning and pushing towards the positive side like it did here. And 1, 2, 3, a couple of weeks like that, and we could see another, I'm not calling for this kind of move up, but we could see another push up towards the weekly trigger, which is currently at 942, which is still a really nice move, $5 to 942.